the People's Station.
Good morning and welcome to our live broadcast of the National Honors Investiture Ceremony for 2023 as we celebrate 50 years of independence. We are here live at Government House. I'm Julian Reed, and to start off our broadcast we have the chair of the National Honors Ceremony Committee, the Honorable Fred Mitchell.
Great. Nice to be here. Glad Zed Ness is here and people across the country are able to see this. It helps with the currency of the awards, and I know people are very pleased across the country that people in their communities have been honored.
Yes. We have several people being honored this year, some posthumously as we did in the past. What goes into determining who gets an award?
Well, right now, in a sense, there's a lot of catching up to do because these awards were hardly given out during the 4.5 years of our predecessors here. And there are many people from local communities that did not get the awards. That was also because we had to amend the law to allow for people in local communities to get these awards. So I'm really happy that we're doing this kind of catching up. And remember, this is a nominating business. This is not something like we pluck people ourselves. So people from across the country actually put in the names.
Great. So that's how it's done. It's a sort of selection from the people.
Yeah, and of course there are categories like police officers, defense force officers. There's a special medal for them. There's a medal for public service as well. One of the more difficult areas to do was the question of the National Hero Awards. This year we decided to advise the Prime Minister to award Dame Doris Johnson National Hero. And that was because one of the shocking and more glaring absences was, of course, that you had national heroes of the country, but no women. They were all men. So that needed to be rectified. And hopefully going forward, we'll continue to look and review this kind of process.
Well, I think few people could actually sort of criticize that because she did make a remarkable contribution to the country and really was a trailblazer.
Yeah, her famous speech in 1959, your noble womanhead raises her head. She was refused the right to address the Assembly, the House of Assembly, and went instead to the Magistrates' Court where the members of the House gathered to listen to her appeal. Ultimately, the British government forced the then government to change the laws, so there was constitutional reform in 1960 when they said either you pass legislation to allow women to vote or the Imperial Parliament would impose it. And of course, Randall Fox moved the resolution in the House to allow women to vote, and women voted for the first time in November 1962.
Now, she's the sole recipient of the Order of National Hero.
Yes, she is.
So obviously we want to keep that as something very special.
Right.
So what are the requirements to be a national hero?
Well, it's basically you have to have made a seminal contribution to the development of the Bahamas. And this is quite, precisely defined. Done something which changed the shape, the turn of the country. The inflection point moved in a specific direction as a result of what you contributed. And she's one of those people. Now, there was a lot of discussion about poor Black Kate, who was a slave, who was the cause célèbre that led to the abolition of Slavery Act in the UK. That was a case of a slave who'd been abused in Crooked Island by her masters, and that case went all the way up to the Privy Council, where the slave masters were convicted of abusing the slave. So there's that lady, and then there's Pompey, who is from Steventon and Exuma, who led the revolt against their removal from Exuma to Cat Island, or to San Salvador, as it is now known.
That's true. These are people who are actually, I guess you could say, as our former Prime Minister used to say, part of the indomitable spirit of Bahamians.
Yeah, and of course they predated independence,
yes.
and predated the abolition of slavery. So it's in kind of antiquity, and many people just are not current with the information. So we have to do a lot of digging. But one of the things we want to do is to make sure that these awards are current, because at the moment we still have this parallel system where you have British awards and these awards, and ultimately the British awards have to be abolished.
And you just led into something that I really wanted to ask you. When do you foresee, if you could, tell us when that might happen?
I can't. Left to me, it'd be abolished tomorrow. But there's some people who still find currency in it, and so until that's so, that generation passes on. Those who wish to have them are free to have them. But I think as these awards become more well-known and popular, they will naturally take over those awards.
Now, a lot of younger people may not appreciate why we would actually do this. Tell them why this is so important.
Well, there are things which are more valuable than money and material things, and one of them is whether your country really appreciates what you've done. And you see it, for example, with the success of our athletes. And there is an award for people under 25 called the Lignum Award, which was Sean A. Miller was one of the recipients of that award. The 4 Defense Force officers who died at sea with the sinking of Flamingo, they also received that award because they were under the age of 25. And if you see the response to families, it's intangible, but it means a lot when your country embraces you in this kind of spiritual sense.
Yeah. And really, this whole thing is about developing more Bahamian pride, understanding who we are, who those heroes and major contributors were before we were here.
And it helps build the Bahamas. The Bahamas is a nation not just because of an army or a defense force or because of their islands, but because people live here and people believe in the nature and notion of a Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And we do these things to help build, because it's the spirit and then there's the physical, and they must both act and work together.
Now, as I said, of course, this is our 50th year of independence. Does this make this any more special than the previous year?
Well, in the sense that the public participated more than ever, because people were more fixed on the notion of a Commonwealth of the Bahamas and wanted to make sure that people were rewarded for their opportunities. So we had, for example, deluge of nominations from Andros and Eleuthera, and also Grand Bahama. I think there are some 18 awards for Bimini. The late Obie Wilscombe was instrumental in nominating several of his constituents who would contribute to the development of Grand Bahama. And now they get on the national stage as a result of that, the success of that nomination.
And that is the big deal about it. This is more than New Providence, because we keep forgetting we are 700 islands, and each of the major islands have to be represented in these awards.
Yeah, the awards are for all Bahamians, and they are from local community leaders. For example, a lot of retired nurses, retired teachers who were very successful in their communities, as far as Mycal and up to Abaco, as you said. And people are really gratified by these awards and the fact that they get to be on the national stage, and people see from their communities that they are accepted as having made a contribution to the development of our country.
Now, as you said, we are sort of like trying to catch up. So for the last year and this year, several hundred.
Yes.
About 300 this year, I believe.
Yeah.
And we're doing it in 3 different ceremonies. One this afternoon, of course, this morning, this afternoon, and then tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you see it becoming a little sort of like tightened as of in future years.
Well,
fewer people being nominated.
Well,
fewer people being awarded, I should say.
I'm not sure, because of course if the awards become more popular, the numbers will increase. The question is, how do future committees look at the awards? One of the things you don't want to do is to devalue the awards by choosing.
And you've led to another question I was going to actually say to you. Because, yeah, if you have too many heroes, then it really...
Well, the heroes, we're certainly guarding that very carefully. So it's 6 now, I think. So Lyndon Pindling, Sir Roland Simonette, Sir Cecil Wadsworth Field, Randolph Fox, Sir Randolph Fox. Then you've now got Dame Doris Johnson, so that's 5. Sir Milo Butler, so it's 6, yeah.
Well, we have a lot of babies doing wonderful things, all different ages. Do you think awards like this will encourage them to do even more?
It means a lot to get on a national stage. And the fact of, this is why I said I'm really glad that ZNS is here, because it makes it show that this is a national event and that it can be seen across the Bahamas. And people are proud of the fact that their friends and family can see that they are actually accepted and rewarded for their contribution and their hard work.
And you know, this really does mean a lot to people when they get it. I mean, this is my second year doing it. And I've spoken to awardees and I've spoken to people whose family members got it posthumously, and it really, really means a lot. For example, last year, Cecil Cook's daughter, she was just overwhelmed that we would honor, you know, that the country would honor her father.
Right, and one of the things she said is that in the glow of Durwood Knowles and the award to Sir Durwood, that people often forget that he was part of that team in Tokyo in 1964 that won the gold medal. And she was deeply appreciative of the fact that that contribution was recognized and rewarded. So better late than never, and it's always right to do, what do they say, there's no bad time to do the right thing.
That's true.
That's good.
That's true. You're the Foreign Affairs Minister. I can't help but ask you to give a little insight to the people about where we're going as far as our foreign policy is concerned, and how it is so important to all the things that we do in the Bahamas.
Well, yesterday, you know, there was the hostilities broke out in Israel, and immediately Bahamians...
Now, why should Bahamians care about that?
Well, they're Bahamians in Israel, so...
beyond that.
Right, one was calling me from the airport as the airport was being bombed and he was being evacuated to Turkey.
Wow.
So, you know, relationships count. We got a briefing from the ambassador designate to the Bahamas for Israel. We're not in the fight. Our view is that the hostilities should cease, and there needs to be a two-state solution, because you have to see the context in which these things happen. So CARICOM is in the process of generating a statement, and as you know, CARICOM is the main instrument through which we conduct our foreign policy, the regional subgrouping. So I suspect that something will be said about that shortly.
Yeah, and it's completely horrific, and this is the worst period of violence they've had in 50 years.
Yes, but, you know, as we see from our partners in Haiti to the south of us, that the ultimate solution to these things has got to be a social and political solution, you know, warfare can only last for a particular period of time. And it's important for a political solution to be lodged.
So for some people who might not still get it, tell them how the Bahamas has influence and can help make changes on a global stage.
Well, there are 14 of us in CARICOM, and those 14 votes count in the international body. And we have the ability to influence policy as a result of those numbers. And so we try and have a good relationship with our CARICOM partners. And, of course, our main trading partner is the United States of America, and we try to make sure that we maintain good relationships with them as well. And one of the factors I was pointing out is when you look at what happened after Hurricane Dorian, even before the officials were able to get up to Abaco to do something about it, Americans were on their boats and planes over in Abaco and in Grand Bahama trying to help with the situation.
Absolutely.
So it shows how
we can't forget that.
Yeah.
What else would you like to say about this whole process of the National Honors?
Well, we'll be opening the awards as of the 1st of January. The new applications on the 1st of January 2024. They close the 31st of March. So people should, if you've got people who you think ought to get these awards, please, you know, stand by to nominate them and, you know, say a little bit about them and their contacts and, their biography, and sum up what their contribution is to help the committee make a decision on these. We want to be sure that no one is left out in this, including those who work in the public service and in the military service, like the Royal Bahamas Defense Force and the police force. And as we go forward, as I say, the currency of this will be more widely accepted, and I'm grateful for the public participation thus far in this, the response to it. We have a debt of gratitude to pay to Reverend Canon Sebastian Campbell, who was the chair of the National Heroes Day Committee, who conducted these exercises, and it was Loretta Butler Turner in the early days. Yeah. Well, we started out, myself, Terrence Bethel, and Code Smith, CB Moss, many others, but Vonda. We were all there. Freddie Munnings Jr. doing the demonstrations and calling for this act. And then I got into Parliament. The Prime Minister Christie agreed to amend the law, and the law came into force. We've had some amendments since then, so we're really proud of this moment. Later today, I'm going up to Fox Hill because the Fox Hill Old Scholars Association is they normally hold their own National Heroes Day service at St. Paul's to honor the people, in particular in Fox Hill, who have made a contribution to the development of Fox Hill. So I hope to join them as soon as I'm able to leave this ceremony to be able to, say congratulations to those people for the work they do. But what I do want to do is to stress that community keeps us together, and people ought to not stress so much over material things. I know material things are obviously important, but community makes a difference, and it's the reason these people are being honored today is because of their contribution to community.
Absolutely. Now, before we let you go, Minister, is there any final words you'd like to say?
Once again, congratulations to all those who are being awarded today. I look forward to meeting many of them and to thank them for their service to the country, and stress again, community is what makes the Bahamas work.
And if I may, I understand you had a birthday recently.
Yes.
Happy birthday.
Yes, right.
A milestone one.
5th of October, yeah. 70 years of age, yeah.
Blessings to you.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to take a very quick break, and we'll be back with more before the actual ceremony begins.
What does disability look like? In a busy airport terminal, at the check-in counter, at security checkpoints, or even in baggage claim? Passengers with hidden disabilities often go unnoticed. Globally, 1 in 7 persons have some form of a disability. 80% of those disabilities are non-visible. In an airport environment, workers are often unaware of hidden physical, mental, or neurological disabilities that some passengers live with. This can lead to frustration and a less than ideal travel experience. So, how do we make the invisible more visible? At LPIA, we've implemented the Sunflower Lanyard program. The lanyards are visual cues for airport workers to immediately identify passengers who might need additional assistance. NAD is teaming up with the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and key stakeholders at LPIA to launch the internationally recognized initiative. We're joining more than 180 airports and 26 countries already in the program. NAD is the first organization in the Bahamas to recognize the Sunflower Initiative. It's a way to show our continued commitment to making LPIA a safe, welcoming, and inclusive airport for all. Passengers needing to secure a free Sunflower lanyard can email sunflower@nas.bs or call 1242-397-8600. For more information, visit www.nassauLPIA.com.
Welcome back. Now, any of you who know anything about me would know that I have a passion for the environment. And I am so pleased to see that there are 3 people I know who are actually getting awards today. Eric Carey, Eleanor Phillips, and this lovely lady, Lynn Gape. Now, Lynn Gape, you might know I had a show called The Bahamas Naturally. Well, Lynn is the one who came up with the name The Bahamas Naturally, and we're forever indebted to her.
Thank you.
And you are now getting the Order of Excellence.
Yes, I am, and I am truly honored to be receiving this award.
Well, listen, I mean, not just because I know you, right? But you are a trooper. You work tirelessly. I mean, we sometimes in the day you stop working then. Right? But what does this mean to you, really?
Well, you know, it's truly an honor. The Bahamas is my adopted country, and it is very, very special to be recognized. But also, I have been so fortunate to be able to do the work that I have done. I was really, really fortunate to teach at St. Augustine's for 10 years and be able to interact with just some wonderful young people who have gone on to do wonderful things for their country. And then in working for the Bahamas National Trust, I visited, I don't know how many islands, gotten to know people. You know, I've often said Inagua was my second home, but my Abaco people would say Abaco is my second home. So it has truly been a journey of joy.
Well, you know, I mean, I have to thank you and, of course, Eric and everyone in the environmental community who helped make the Bahamas naturally what it was. I'm sad to say that you're now with another station, but that's because I'm not at ZNS full time. But anyway, but really, through BNT and my work with the environment, I got to experience things in the Bahamas that I would I mean, like going to Sunsala and seeing those red iguanas.
Right.
I mean, little things like that. I mean, but
well,
the things.
The Bahamas is blessed. It's wonderful to see people being recognized who have helped us on that journey to being so environmentally conscious. But, you know, the BNT was created in 1959. We have been on the forefront of conservation.
In the world?
Yes.
Really?
National Park Declaration. And that goes back to Mrs. Lynn Hollowesco, who is president of the Bahamas National Trust.
Who's also getting an award today.
Yes, she is. And so it's wonderful to see the country becoming engaged with the environment.
But I'm sure the most wonderful thing that you've seen, and I've seen it in my short time doing the work in what I did, is like those who were like kids.
Yes.
And now they're like scientists for the environment. They're doing like the Shanty Chuck Bradley Watson. They're doing amazing things.
They are, and they started out at the BNT, so we're really thrilled. We're thrilled, you know. You know, at one point in time, if they had called and said, "Oh, can you put together a team to monitor coral reefs?" I would have been like, "Oh, well, we don't have anybody." Now we have a full team. They're helping the government assess seagrass. It's truly, truly wonderful to see those things.
So it's all been worth it then?
It sure has.
Where else would you like to see us go as far as environmental conservation and protection is concerned?
Well, I would like to see us assign the last gazetted national parks to their management bodies, so we can get on.
We have now?
Well, once they assign them, I think it will take us up to something like the BNT is managing 33. And I think if we do the ones that were gazetted recently and assign their management bodies, we might also be up to 60. So one of the great things is that the Bahamas has recognized and protected 20% of their nearshore and marine environment. And that is that's due to a lot of work by Department of Marine Resources, TNC, Bahamas National Trust, and BRIEF with the Bahamas Protected Project. And so I worked on that project, so I really would like to see those areas that have been recognized, you know, basically put to where we can start to manage them and protect the natural resources there.
Protected areas.
Yes, well, that is a big thing now. Everybody wants to protect the marine environment. And one of the things that struck me from a film that I saw recently that was basically produced by the Perry Institute of Marine Science.
Yes, it was
one of the fishermen in Abaco talked about how after Dorian, there was one thing that he knew he could do. He could go and catch a meal for his family after that horrific storm. And that just points to the need for us to protect these very special marine environments.
And you know the most wonderful thing I think it is, too, because, you know, there was a thought maybe way back when they thought that, you know, environmental protection was elitist. But it isn't. It's for everyone.
It is.
And I want you to give every Bahamian out there what they could do just to make the environment a little better. Just give them 1 or 2 tips.
Well, first of all, you can make sure that you keep the environment that you are living in clean. making sure that we don't leave trash and debris around. And you can look at working with any number of non-governmental organizations or with the government to help with protected areas. The Bahamas National Trust loves to have members, loves to have volunteers, but also you students who are at the University of Bahamas, there are opportunities for you to do citizen science. So we encourage you to get involved with your environment. Engage with your environment.
And, I have to give BNT a little plug. You're having a big event coming up this month, right?
Yes, we are. We're having our Wine and Art Festival at the retreat.
Great. And those funds go to?
Those funds actually go to support the organization.
Absolutely. Well, Lynn Gate, I am so proud of you. I really am.
Thank you,
I
Julian.
love you. I'm sure I got on your nerves a couple of times. But
that's okay, Julian. You've been my good friend.
Yes. I love you, and really congratulations.
Thank you so
God
much.
Bless you.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break, and right after that, we'll come back with the actual ceremony.
Years ago, a new era began. 50 years of a small country doing big things. Our faith, our people, and our values are the source of our strength. Together we share joy and survive the hardest times by leaning on each other. Now, as we confront a changing world, we need to grow stronger. That means standing up for ourselves, protecting our borders, investing in our family islands, growing more of what we eat at home, owning more of our economy, and above all, investing in our people. Lifting each other up, that's who we have always been. We know where we came from, so we know where we are going. Happy Independence, Bahamas. May God bless us all.
Our marine resources were once considered inexhaustible. Conch and reef fish like grouper were abundant everywhere, and it seemed as if the lobster catch would rise forever. But today, there is a downward trend that affects everyone. Researchers say we can reverse the trend by protecting more marine habitats. And the good news is that most Bahamians strongly support efforts to halt further decline. Tripling the size of our network of marine parks will mean more fish and conch for everyone, now and for the future, as well as more recreational and ecotourism opportunities. Today, only 10% of our waters are protected. Surveys show that most Bahamians consider protection of our marine environment to be a top national priority. More protection means more benefits for everyone, now and in the future. It's a win-win-win strategy for the economy, for Bahamians, and for nature. Protect our sea, protect our way of life, protect the Bahamas. See the future. Visit Bahamas Protected on Facebook to learn more about marine protected areas.
It's a joy, to help someone who is in need,
I'm proud to know that we are able to accommodate them with a hot meal, fresh meal, and a well-balanced meal.
A lot of our clients, as you know, it's in the inner city, and persons who really improve and so much have lost their jobs. And for whatever reason, 2 months, 3 months, they really don't have anything.
You have to have some kind of kindness to do this.
Did you know that if a fire starts in your home, you may have as little as 2 minutes to escape? Keep your family and home safe with these few fire safety preparation and prevention tips. Ensure that your home has working smoke detectors. They will alert you if there is smoke and fire in your home. Install a smoke detector on every level of your home, inside each bedroom and outside each sleeping area. Test smoke detectors every month and change the batteries every 6 months. Home fires can spread rapidly and every second counts. Create an escape plan and practice it with everyone in your home. Make sure everyone can safely escape in less than 2 minutes. Keep escape routes as clutter-free as possible so no one trips or falls on the way out during an emergency. In addition to smoke detectors, fire extinguishers is an important device to have on hand. To use a fire extinguisher, remember the acronym PASS. Pull the pin, aim the nozzle, squeeze the handle, and sweep from side to side at the base of the fire. We must all do our parts to ensure that our families and homes are safe in the event a fire occurs. On behalf of the Commissioner of Police, the Director of Fire Services, and all officers of the fire department, let's work together to help prevent fires, because fire safety is everyone's responsibility, and the life you save may be your own.
Welcome back to our live coverage of the National Honors Investiture Ceremony 2023, the 50th year of independence of the Bahamas. Now, the ceremony itself will get underway in just a few minutes. The Prime Minister's arrived, and I understand the Governor General has arrived. On your screens right now, you can see inside the tent here on the lower grounds of Government House, and we are honoring Bahamians who have done so much to help make this country better. And if you do your part, maybe one day you'll get an award too. But as I said, this will be done in 3 separate ceremonies. This morning, we're going to have the first set. And then this afternoon at 5 o'clock, there'll be a second set. And then tomorrow, the last set of these 2023 honors. The Foreign Minister, Fred Mitchell, who actually chairs the National Honors Committee, had explained that what they've been trying to do is catch up over the years, and we're trying to honor people going way back. Because don't forget now, these are the first set of Bahamian honors. It only had started happening a few years ago. And there are so many different types of awards. This year, and of course, the National Hero Award is special. And only one person is getting that this year. There are only 6 altogether. And they want to keep that exclusive. So if you're going to be a hero, you have to be exceptional. And Dame Doris Johnson, DBE, is getting one posthumously. And even if you didn't know her, I'm sure if you read any Bahamian history, you will know about her exceptional service to this country. She was a dynamo, an amazing trailblazer. And also today, Order of the Bahamas will be Lowell Mortimer getting that, among several others. And there's the Order of Excellence, the Order of Distinction, and the Order, well, there's several people getting the Order of Distinction. And, there are quite a few people getting that. But there also is going to be a special remarks made by the Prime Minister, of course, but he'll be introduced by the Honorable Fred Mitchell, and there'll be a chance for people to take photographs, and there'll also be the explanation of national honors. And let me tell you what it means to be a national hero. The Order of National Hero is conferred upon a Bahamian who has made a seminal contribution to the Bahamas, and which contribution has altered the course of history of the country in a positive way and shows visionary and pioneering leadership, extraordinary achievement, and attainment of the highest excellence, which has rebounded to the honor of the Bahamas, and which service and attainment have been acknowledged as a source of inspiration by a significant portion of the nation. And the title is Right Excellent, before the name and after the name, and H for National Hero. Now, the Order of Nation, that's conferred upon a Bahamian Governor General or Prime Minister during their lifetime or posthumously. Now, of course, the Honorable, Her Excellency, the Most Honorable, Cynthia Pratt, this will be her first time actually participating in this event. And she has ON after her name, Order of the Nation. Okay, now we're going to take you directly to the ceremony as it begins.
Please join me in welcome the Honorable Philip Edward Davis, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and First Lady Anne Marie Davis. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the entrance of Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Cynthia A. Pratt, Order of the Nation and Chancellor of the Societies of Honors. Kindly remain standing for the national anthem of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The Royal Bahamas Police Force Band will lead. Following the national anthem, Bishop Dr. Delton Fernando, President of the Bahamas Christian Council, will offer prayers.
Let us pray. Most gracious and holy Father, we're thankful that as a nation that we can pause on this National Heroes Day and say thank you to all of those that lent their life, talent, inspiration, and the gifts that you had lent them back to the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We acknowledge that we cannot pay them for all that they have done, but we can stop and say that we are grateful and we are the better because they made up the tapestry, which is the fabric of 50 years as an independent nation. Bless these proceedings and bless the honorees. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Bishop, for invoking. You may be seated. Excellency, it is my honor on your behalf to advance this very special welcome to our guests, assembled here once again to witness the award of medals and insignias in accordance with the National Honors Act, which established the second Monday in October as National Heroes Day, with the conferment of awards on that day. Your Excellency, our distinguished guests include the Honorable Philip Edward Davis, Prime Minister, and his wife, First Lady Anne Marie Davis. The Honorable Sir Ian Winder, Chief Justice of the Bahamas. The Honorable Fred A. Mitchell, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Chairman of the National Honors Advisory Committee. Honorable Cabinet Ministers, the Honorable Sir Michael Barnett, President of the Court of Appeal, former Governors General, in particular Lady Dame Marguerite Pendling, former Prime Ministers, Justices of the Court of Appeal, Justices of the Supreme Court, Bishop Dr. Delton Fernanda, President of the Bahamas Christian Council, heads of religious denominations, parliamentary secretaries, honorable senators, honorable members of the House of Assembly, members of the Diplomatic Corps and of international organizations, Mr. Clayton Fernando, Commissioner of the Royal Bahamas Police Force, Dr. Raymond King, Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, permanent secretaries, senior government officials, our honorees, ladies and gentlemen. Please accept my warm welcome to this investiture of National Honors 2023. We are honored by your presence. I now invite Her Excellency, the Most Honorable Cynthia Pratt, Governor General, to present the medals and insignias in this year's investiture ceremony. Our first award is the Order of National Hero, and it's awarded to a Bahamian citizen who has demonstrated considerable achievement or merit, especially in the service to the Bahamian people, or made seminal contribution to the Bahamas, and which contribution has altered the course of the history of the Bahamas in a positive way, has given service to the Bahamas, which has been exemplified in visionary and pioneering leadership, extraordinary achievement, and attainment of the highest excellence, which has redounded to the honor of the Bahamas, and which service and attainment have been acknowledged as a source of inspiration by a significant portion of the nation, or has, through that person's heroic exploits and sacrifice, having gone beyond their personal and historic limitations, contributed to the improvement of the economic, spiritual, and social conditions of the nation as a whole. This year's Order of National Hero is awarded posthumously to Dame Doris Johnson, DBE. Dame Dr. Doris Johnson was a Bahamian political trailblazer who was a leader in the women's suffrage movement in the Bahamas. In 1967, she was the first Bahamian woman appointed to serve in the Senate. Dame Doris Johnson served as acting Governor General in 1979 and died at the age of 62 on the 21st of June, 1983. A senior high school in eastern New Providence was named in her honor. Coming to receive the insignia on her behalf is a relative of Dame Doris, Miss Lundy. Her Excellency will now confer the Order of the Bahamas on citizens of the Bahamas who, through lifelong contributions in one or more fields of endeavor, made a major difference to the life of Bahamians and to humanity. A first honoree in this category is His Excellency Lowell J. Mortimer, OBE, who will receive the award of Companion of the Order of the Bahamas. Mr. Mortimer. As a companion, His Excellency Lowell Mortimer will bear the title of Right Honorable before his name and CB after his name. Latimer, you need to be on this side. Go around. Baby, you tell me. Okay, thank you. Reverend Dr. Parker W. Brown, companion, posthumously. Dr. Michael Perry Gomez, companion. His daughter will receive the award on his behalf. Dr. Gomez is being recognized for his service in the medical field, that's particularly for his efforts in the HIV/AIDS program, earning awards both in the Caribbean as well as through the United Nations. His Grace, the Most Reverend Patrick Pinder, CMG, for his work in the religious community, both in the Bahamas and in the region, as well as part of the Catholic community worldwide. Reverend Kenris DeVoe Carey, Mrs. Eileen Depuch Karen, Reverend Dr. J. Emmett Ware, posthumously as an officer of the Order of the Bahamas, accepting his daughter on his behalf. And as an officer, he will bear the name Honorable before his name and the letters OB after his name. Mr. Edward Clement Bethel Sr., posthumously as a member of the Order of the Bahamas. Members of the Order of the Bahamas will use the letters MB after their name. His insignia is being accepted by his son, Edward Clement Bethel Jr. Mrs. Lynn Hyfram Holoesco, CB, Officer of the Order of the Bahamas. Reverend Kenris L. DeVoe Carey, OBE, for her work in the community and with the Methodist Church. Reverend Dr. Harker W. Brown, representative, will now come to receive the award on his behalf. Honorable Mr. Justice Bernard Turner as a member of the Order of the Bahamas for his service in the legal profession and in the service of the public service. The Honorable Mr. Justice Milton Evans for his service in the legal profession and in the public service. The Honorable Mr. Justice Neville Adley retired for his many years of service in the public service and in the legal profession. Mr. John Vincent Dean, posthumously as a member of the Order of the Bahamas, and he's represented by his daughter, Teresa Adley, who will receive on his behalf. He's being recognized for his service to the Catholic community as well as to the Catholic education system. The Honorable Mr. Justice John Isaacs, for his years of service in the legal profession as well as the sporting community. Dr. Richard C. Demerit, a member of the Order of the Bahamas, for his service as the Auditor General of the Bahamas for many years, as an ambassador to the Bahamas, and his work in the accounting field of the Bahamas, both locally and internationally. May we congratulate all of the awardees in the Order of the Bahamas, both companions, officers, and members. Let's give them another round of applause. Your Excellency, it's now my honor to present the honorees for the Order of Excellence. This is the only category of medals that is offered to non-Bahamian citizens. It's offered to heads of foreign government, or to persons who have given exemplary service to the Bahamas. Mrs. Erica Gates, posthumously. Ms. Nina Lynn Gap. The Order of Excellence was conferred in July of this year on His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, as well as to Congresswoman Maxine Waters, United States of America. And let's congratulate all of the awardees in the Order of Excellence. We now have the Order of Distinction. This is awarded to Bahamian citizens who have made a seminal contribution to any field of endeavor of national or of international importance, and in which the contribution has positively altered the course of that field. Our first recipient is Mr. Admiral Lawrence Ferguson Sr., posthumously the Companion of the Order of Distinction, and his son Fred Ferguson will receive on his behalf. As a companion, persons awarded the Companion Order of Distinction will use the letters CD after their name. Mr. Eric Alfred Carey, Companion of the Order of Distinction. He's been recognized for his work in the environment and in the community. Amos Ferguson, posthumously Companion for his work to the arts, both nationally and internationally. Dr. Lorraine Bastian is accepting as a representative of his family. Mrs. Andrea Elizabeth Yvonne Archer, Companion in the Order of Distinction for her work in the community, particularly in social welfare as a trailblazer in that arena. Mrs. Anita Versia Benaby, companion, for her work in the public service. Mrs. Barbara Hannah Cox. Mrs. Barbara Pierre, MBE, for her service in the public service, particularly the Department of Immigration. Mr. Brensel Roll, companion. We're just going to take a few moments. I need to rest my voice. And for the Royal Bahamas Police Force to give us a short selection, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Royal Bahamas Police Force Band. We continue with the Order of Distinction, Companion, Reverend Dr. Carlton Bristol Moss, for his work in the community, religion, political, cultural, and community. His son is accepting it on his behalf. Commissioner Bernard Kenneth Barnaby, retired, posthumously Companion of the Order of Distinction. His widow and son will be accepting on his behalf. Commissioner Bernard Barnaby is being recognized for his as an exceptional law enforcement officer. He is the longest standing Commissioner of Police within the Royal Bahamas Police Force and has dedicated his life to serving his country and upholding the principles of justice and security. Commodore Clifford Wellington Scavala, retired, Companion of the Order of Distinction. He's being recognized for his work in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, as well as the public service. He was the consul to the Embassy of the Bahamas in the Republic of Haiti, served as the Chief Passport Officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and then Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Commodore Davy Franklin Roll, retired. Retired Commodore Davy Roll is being recognized for his years of service in the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, joining in March 1979, where he previously was an electronics teacher. He attended Britannia Royal Navy College in Dartmouth, England. He's an avid sportsman and basketball aficionado. The Operations Command Center of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force was officially named in his honor. Our next awardee Commodore Tellis Andrew Bethel, retired. Commodore Tellis Bethel served as Commander of Defense Force from 2015 to 2020 and is currently the Standards Inspector of Security Forces at the Ministry of National Security. He's been recognized for his years of service to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Commodore Roderick Bowe, retired. Commodore Roderick Bowe was appointed the 6th Commander of the Defense Force on the 21st of January 2010. He's been recognized for his exemplary service to the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Reverend Edwin Taylor, posthumously Companion of the Order of Distinction. Mrs. Effie Walks, posthumously. Mrs. Effie Walks, posthumously. A representative of Mrs. Walks is here to receive on her behalf. Mrs. Eleanor Garraway Phillips for her work in preserving the environment of the Bahamas. Her passion for conservation has made a significant impact, specifically in protecting the land and marine areas of this region. Mr. Erison Paulman Johnson, companion. Mr. Errol Winston Bethel, OBE, companion, for his work in the public service as a school teacher, serving as a principal for 25 years in 7 schools across the Bahamas. He is known for his tenure at the Parliamentary Registration Department, responsible for the conduct of 4 general elections, 6 local government elections, a national referendum, and establishment of both local government and school board elections in the Family Islands. He's represented the Bahamas and served as election observers for the CARICOM, the Organization of American States, and the Commonwealth Secretariat, observing elections in the Caribbean, Asia, and Africa. Mr. Everett Ferguson, posthumously, as a companion. Captain Fernley Arthur Palmer, companion, for his work to the community in the Boys Brigades and for his service to the church community. Mr. Palmer is an international certified boxing judge and served on the Bahamas Boxing Commission. Mrs. Frances Butler posthumously. She's being represented by her granddaughter, Loretta Butler Turner. Mrs. Frances Butler Nee Thompson was the mother of the country's first Bahamian Governor General, the late Sir Milo B. Butler, and great-grandmother to Loretta Butler Turner. She's the founder of the Bahamas Mothers Club, the Young Women's Christian Association, and the Silver Bells, as all inner city communities. Pastor Francis Carey II, Pastor Francis Carey II is from Topham Bay, Eleuthera. He's a businessman, being the owner of a plaza and a beverage depot. He's a justice of the peace and a marriage. He's being honored for his work in the Brethren Church as well as in the community, involved in the regatta, basketball, and junk canoe. He's past president and founder of the All Eleuthera Regatta Committee, the Eleuthera Basketball Association, and the All Eleuthera Junk Canoe Committee. Assistant Commissioner Grafton Orlando Eiffel Sr., QPM retired companion. Assistant Commissioner retired Grafton Eiffel Sr. is being recognized for his work in the Royal Bahamas Police Force, having served for some 41 years. He's the president of the Royal Bahamas Police Force Retired Police Officers Association and a founding member of the Police Dependents Trust. Who's that? That's not on my list. She's not on my list. Mr. Hall Joseph Taylor posthumously is being recognized for his contribution in the world of fashion design, both in the Bahamas and internationally. Bishop Bishop Helen McPhee, companion. Mr. Kenneth Maxwell Nixon, companion. He's being recognized as a leader in promoting culture in Exuma, where he lives. He's a musician and has instructed many persons. He started the first marching band on Exuma. Pastor Henry Carlisle Francis. He's being recognized for his service in the financial services industry of the Bahamas. He's one of the founding directors of the Bahamas Faith Ministries International, serving as Senior Vice President. The Honorable Dr. Earl D. DeVoe, companion. He's being recognized for his contributions to Bahamian agriculture and the environment. He served 10 years in the Bahamas Parliament as the minister. He was appointed Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Minister of Labor and Immigration, Ambassador of the Environment, Minister of Public Works, and the Minister of Environment in his 10-year political career. He has coached via the B3As and Carifta, as well as women's softball. Teresa Maria Moxie Ingram, posthumously companion. The Honorable Teresa Maria Moxie Ingram is being recognized for her community and civic work. Mrs. Mabel Walker, posthumously companion. Mrs. Walker is a social worker in New Jersey. She was the principal of Woodcock Primary School. She's the founder of the Bahamas Union of Teachers in 1947, and the Teachers Union Hall is named in her honor, as well as a primary school. Miss Maria Teresa Butler, companion. Former teacher, she's been recognized for her years of service in the Bahamas Public Service. She co-authored a social studies textbook for primary school children as a teacher, and she's co-edited and published the first volume of speeches by the former Prime Minister. She served on the board of directors for many public institutions and retired as a permanent secretary. Miss Marion Stewart, posthumously. Mr. Mark Wilson, companion. Mr. Mark Anthony Williams hails from Duncantown, Ragged Island. He began his public service as a teacher and retired in 2008 after 48 years in the public service, retiring as permanent secretary in the Ministry of National Security. Mr. McFarlane Anthony Gregory Mackey, a.k.a. Tony McKay, posthumously as companion. He's been recognized as a Bahamian visionary, humanistic philosopher, and a people's poet, and for his work as a musician, both of Bahamian and Caribbean music. Mr. Raphael Munnings, companion. He's been recognized for his talent in the music arena. Jr. posthumously. Ray Minus Jr. was inducted into the Bahamas National Sports Hall of Fame in 2022. He's been recognized for his work in the community by opening a club for troubled boys, teaching them how to use boxing, Reginald William Eldon, companion. Dr. Reginald Eldon is being recognized for his visionary leadership in the Bahamas Methodist Church. Mr. Reginald Charles Grant, posthumously. He's been recognized for his service at Bahamas Air and Nassau Flight Services, the Armored Guard Services, and the College of the Bahamas. He's also known for his work in the labor union, the Airport, Airline, and Allied Workers Union. Mr. Ricardo Pedro DeVoe, companion. He's a public officer, and he's been recognized for his impact in his community and his country with the establishment of the Bahamas Primary School Student of the Year Awards program. Mr. Robert Love, posthumously companion. Dr. Sandra Dean Patterson for her work as a psychologist and human rights activist, founder of the Women's Crisis Center in 1982, she's been recognized both locally and regionally for her work on behalf of women. Mrs. Sean Turnquest, an educator by profession, she's provide visionary leadership, at Queens College and on behalf of the Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Church. She's impacted many lives of thousands of students. Mr. Sherlin Wellington Hall. Mr. Hall is being recognized for his many, many years of service in the public service. Dr. Sidney W. Smith, companion. Ms. Sylvia Scriven, OBE. Mrs. Scriven is being recognized for her work in the community as well as her political activities. Mr. Theodore Grant Glover. Being recognized posthumously. He's being recognized for his work in education. He was headmaster of Western Senior School in Nassau in 1943, and the T.G. Glover Junior High School on Horseshoe Drive was named in his honor. It's now being changed to T.G. Glover Primary School. Dr. Valerie Hepburn Knowles. Dr. Knowles is being recognized as her work in the mental health area as a clinical psychologist. Ms. Bernice Joaquin Companion, who's not able to be with us today. And last but not least, we have Commissioner Clayton Leroy Fernanda QPM Companion, recognized for his service to the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Our final recipient in the Order of Distinction Companion is Commodore Dr. Raymond Emmanuel King, serving as the current Commodore of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and he's being recognized for his many years of service in that institution. We are now going to be favored by a selection from the choir of St. Francis Roman Catholic Cathedral with the rendition When the Road Seems Rough. Thank you, choir from St. Francis Roman Catholic Cathedral. That song reminds us not to give up, but to keep trying. And I think that must have been the mantra for most of our honorees today. Through all adversities, they never gave up, but they persevered, and now we are honoring them for that perseverance and that dedication in spite of the troubles. We now continue with the Order of Distinction at the officers level. Mr. Alfred Williams, officer. Mr. Williams served for 42 years in the rank of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. On the 10th of July, 1973, he had the vital role of lowering the Union Jack during the country's independence celebrations so that the Bahamian flag could be hosted for the first time. He also served as a prosecutor in the courts, where he represented many police officers and won many cases. During his policing career, he worked in the Criminal Investigation Department, the Mobile and Riot Squad divisions. Mrs. Anita Elizabeth Colley Verdesia is being recognized for her work in her community. She was employed at Bahamas Air for 10 years. She's a gifted artisan and herbalist. And is very active in her community of athletes. Dr. Horizon Alex Simmons, officer, for his work in the healthcare sector. And for his community service in Special Olympics, the Gentlemen's Club, the Children's Emergency Hostel. He's a former president of the Medical Association of the Bahamas, former council member of the Bahamas Association of Primary Care Physicians. Mrs. Diane Holowesco, officer. Mrs. Holowesco is being recognized for her community service, involved in a number of nonprofit groups, running a summer camp in Adelaide Village, air relief deliveries in the Southern Islands after Hurricane Joaquin, a lawyer, and a realtor. Mr. Ivan Montgomery Taylor, officer. Mrs. Yulie Cynthia Benaby. Sorry. This is Mr. Ivan Montgomery Taylor. Mr. Taylor joined the Royal Bahamas Police Force in 1958. He served several years as an instructor at the police college. He's a member of the first board of the directors of the Police Credit Union. Mr. Taylor is also an avid cricketer representing the Bahamas at cricket matches all over the world. Mrs. Yulie Cynthia Benaby. Mrs. Benaby is a veteran education of 47 years who has served with distinction. She was the principal of C.V. Bethel Senior High School from 2003 to 2012. She also served as district superintendent from 2012 to 2017 and as deputy director of education. She has coached many teachers and administrators in the educational field. She retired from the public service in 2019. Mr. Alexander Doyle Burroughs, a member of the Order of Distinction, he's being recognized as his work and has been described as the genius with his hands and is known as the Junkanoo engineer. In 1994, Mr. Burroughs represented the Bahamas delegation at the Smithsonian Institute as a drum presenter. He's an avid junkanooer, as well as in the arena of sports, and was inducted into the Bahamas American Football Hall of Fame. Mr. David Knowles, member. Born in Tarpon Bay, Eleuthero, he began his employment in the insurance field as a sales representative. He then entered the hotel field where he excelled. Serving as general manager of the Emerald Beach and the Balmoral Beach hotels. Mr. Fletcher Ferguson. Mr. Ferguson is being recognized for his pioneering work in the field of culinary arts, Chef Fletcher Ferguson, as he is fondly known, has been instrumental in opening the doors for many other chefs. He spent 35 years at the Life at Key Club and over 50 years at the Life at Key, cooking in private homes. And that career has taken him all around the world. Mrs. Inez Maria Ferguson Pete, member. Her daughter is accepting the award on her behalf. Mrs. Pete is a founding member of the College of the Bahamas and retired from COB as Director of Continuing Education and Extension Services. She served as a mathematics lecturer, chairperson of the Teacher Education and Academic Dean. Dr. Kevin Maurice Moss. Dr. Moss is being recognized as a distinguished and accomplished trailblazer in the field of medicine in the Bahamas. He is the first Bahamian physician internist to specialize in pulmonary and critical care medicine, and was the only pulmonologist in the Bahamas for over 23 years. Let us congratulate all of our honorees in the Order of Distinction. We now turn to the Order of Merit. Mr. Alexander Wellington Gibson, Companion of the Order of Merit. Mr. Gibson is being recognized for his work in the community, namely through the Scout Association of the Bahamas. He joined the Scout Association in the 1950s. Through scouting, he has built men out of boys and teach them how to look after themselves. Mr. Alfred A. Roll, Companion of the Order of Merit. Mr. Roll is being recognized for his 45 years of training and teaching in the mastery of the martial arts. He's chief instructor and founder of the National Academy of Martial Arts, Jiu-Jitsu and Fitness Center. Mr. Breon Stanford Leary, Companion. Mr. Leary hails from Rock Sound, Eleuthera. He became an air traffic controller, was promoted to operations manager at the airport in Nassau, and subsequently became an airport manager. He retired from the aviation industry in January of 2000. Mr. Carlton Russell, Companion. Ms. Cheryl Bastian, companion. Ms. Bastian is being recognized for her service in the hotel industry, as well as 33 years in the financial industry of the Bahamas. She was president of the Bahamas Out Island Promotion Board for the Family Islands in 2021-2022. Mrs. Cheryl Marie Marshall Campbell, posthumously. Mrs. Campbell is a pioneering educator who devoted her life to improving and advancing education in the Bahamas. Sister Claire Roll. Sister Claire entered the St. Martin Convent in 1956. She was an educator and taught in a number of schools in Nassau and the Family Islands. She began the Samaritan Ministry Program at the request of Archbishop Lawrence Burke, Catholic Bishop of the Nassau, and they focus on persons infected with HIV and AIDS. Mr. Daniel Nixon. Bishop Daniel Nixon is a proud son of Eleuthera. He's an avid farmer, a passion he began at the age of 21, and he still farms to this day. His farm, Hog Hole Farms, is located in Wimsis Bight, Eleuthera. Mr. Daniel Nixon. Companion. Mr. Diallo Gary Ingram, companion. Mr. E. John Delavaux. Hailing from Crooked Island, he is retired Executive Vice President of the Bahamas Hotel Association, now named the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. He was Deputy Director General of Tourism, beginning his career in New York at the Bahamas Tourist Office as Assistant Manager in 1969. Mr. Edison Ulrich Daines, a Junkanoo and cultural icon. He's been recognized for his work as an artist, as an entertainer, and is an ardent Junkanoo dancer. Mr. George Gilbert Pinder, hailing from Spanish Wells. Mr. Pinder is being recognized for his work in the fishing industry, serving on the Fisheries Advisory Board Committee for 25 years. Mr. Gladstone McPhee, companion. Captain Harrington Marlin Nixon. Captain Nixon, hailing from Steventon, Exuma, has been involved in his church, as well as starting the organization Exuma Youth for Positive Action in 1971. Ms. Helen Smith for her work in the public service. Mr. John Richard Philpott. Dr. John Sidney Roll. Mr. Phil Pott joined the Scout Association of the Bahamas in 1958 and has been known for his work with the young men of the Bahamas. Dr. John Sidney Roll. Mr. John Johnson, Mr. Kirkwood Roger Clare, Deputy Commissioner of Police Emmerich Seymour, retired. Deputy Commissioner of Police, retired, is the current Director of the Financial Intelligence Unit of the Bahamas, commencing his tenure in December of 2021. He's being recognized for his extensive and successful career in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Deputy Commissioner of Police, Limon Jerome Delaveau. Okay. Mr. Delaveau enlisted in the Royal Bahamas Police Force in December 1984 and worked in many areas in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Deputy Commissioner of Police Loretta May Mackey, retired. Deputy Commissioner of Police, retired, is being recognized for her many years of service in the Royal Bahamas Police Force. She formed neighborhood watch groups, served as a spokesperson on domestic violence, bullying, and safe touch at public forums. Dr. Marcellus Charles Taylor, companion. Dr. Taylor is being recognized for his many years of service in the field of education, Mr. Marvin Henfield, companion. Ms. Melberth Charlton, companion. Mr. Michael Simonet, companion. Mr. Simonet He's been honored for his work as a founding partner and editor of the Bahamas Financial Digest for 40 years. He's an accomplished author. He was a member of the board of the Bahamas Maritime Authority and director for transportation of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association. Okay. Mr. Michael Reckley, companion. Mr. Michael Todd Brennan, companion. Mr. Brennan has enjoyed a distinguished career in marine biology, seafood safety, and fisheries management. He's had a remarkable 4-decade-long tenure in the public service, retiring as Director of Fisheries in 2018. Mr. Nathaniel MacArthur Dean. Mr. Dean is being recognized for his many years in the legal profession, both as Registrar General, Registrar of the Supreme Court, and the Registrar of the Court of Appeal. He has taught law at the Eugene DePuch Law School and served as Vice President in the Industrial Tribunal, a position that he held until he retired in 2019. Bishop Nathaniel G. Benamy, Sr., posthumously. Bishop Nathaniel Benamy, Sr., served for 19 years as chaplain of the House of Assembly. He's been recognized for his service in the community and for humanity. We'll have a 5 minutes break, and I will ask the band if you please render a selection.
If you're just joining us, the first set of honors for 2023 have been actually conferred and received by either the persons themselves or their representatives. In the case of those who are receiving them posthumously, of course, Dame Doris Johnson, a phenomenal woman, has been named a national hero, and rightly so. Other people getting awards today: the Order of Excellence, the Order of the Bahamas, the Order of Distinction, and those are the only ones that are going to be conferred today at this point in the morning session. But there will be others coming this afternoon, and of course tomorrow afternoon as well. But if we didn't say it before, today is Heroes Day, and Happy Heroes Day. Now, if you know some people who are you believe deserving of awards. Of course, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Fred Mitchell, who actually is the chair of the National Honors Committee, says all you have to do is actually sort of submit their names and their bios. And the actual submissions will start in January and will go on until March. So if you know someone who should get an award at this national level, you should actually make that submission. Well, we're having a sort of, we're having a musical selection right now, but we will have remarks by the Honorable Fred Mitchell, who will introduce the Prime Minister. Now, we have a special guest who will be joining us in a few moments. After the Prime Minister speaks, of course, there will be the national anthem and a chance for everyone to take a photograph. Now, the person I'm about to introduce you to is representing her father. And, you know, we all are proud of everyone who's getting these awards. But there are some that stand out a little bit more, and some on a very personal level for me. You heard my environmental friends who actually received awards today. Well, we're going to send you back to the program right now before we actually put in our guest.
I needed that little pick-me-up. Thank you. We shall continue. Miss Melberth Una Charlton. Mrs. Wild Goose Charlton is being recognized for her work in the medical technology field. She served in the laboratory of the Princess Margaret Hospital since 1961. She worked in the neonatal ICU ward of the Princess Margaret Hospital. Where she retired after many years of dedicated service. Mr. Philip James Stubbs. Dr. Norris Stubbs, posthumously. Mr. Richard Johnson, companion. Mr. Russell Miller. Mr. Russell Miller. Mr. Miller is a seasoned hotelier with over 25 years of local and international experience at high-end luxury resorts. He serves as the Executive Vice President of Hotel Operations at Atlantis Paradise Island, with direct responsibility for all hotel operating divisions. Mr. Miller is the former president of the Bahamas Hotel and Tourism Association and most recently chairman of the Grand Bahama Island Tourism Board. Mrs. Sheila May Culmer, companion. Ms. Culmer is being recognized for her numerous years of service to promote the human welfare and dignity of others. She is a champion of persons with disabilities and wants to ensure that they are given their rightful place in society. She's the immediate past president of the Bahamas National Council for Disability. She served for 27 years at the Stapleton School for the Mentally Retarded, 19 of those as principal. Her philosophy is only look down upon a man if you are stooping to pick him up. But by the grace of God go I. Dr. Stuart Bowe, companion. Dr. Stuart Bowe is a veteran hotelier of 30-plus years in Bahamian and global tourism industry. Mr. William Bill Norton. Mr. Marvin Henfield. Let's give a round of applause to all of our honorees. We will now be favored with a musical selection from violinist Mr. Cameron Pratt, climb every mountain. I now invite the Honorable Frederick Mitchell, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Chairman of the National Honors Advisory, to bring remarks and introduce the Prime Minister.
All right, I promise I won't keep you more than 30 minutes. So good afternoon. Prime Minister, Mrs. Davis, distinguished guests all. It's a privilege once again to speak to you as chair of the advisory committee. I'd like to recognize the members of the committee, starting first of all with the deputy leader of the opposition, Shannon Dawn Cartwright, who's here. And then there's Maxine Duncombe from the Public Service, ACP Delarice Ferguson, Anita Colley-Pratt, Justice Camille Gomez, Miss Constance McDonald, Ms. Rosalind Horton at Government House, Francis Carey, who we all know as Swelly, Tamika Lundy, Granville Adderley of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, Mr. Idris Reed of Government House, and Chris Kilbarney. It's been our privilege and pleasure to support your nominations, and I wish to thank all of you for the yeoman service which you've done for the building up of community in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It was a unanimous choice of all of us, and that goes without any distinction. Thank you, and God bless you. I'd like to recall the history of the National Heroes Struggle, and in particular those people who helped to create the holiday. Reverend Sebastian Campbell, the late Terrence Bethel, Al Dillette, Freddie Munnings Jr., the Reverend C.B. Moss, Mr. Maxwell Turner and his son, Justice Turner, received an award. Vanda Moss, Code Smith, and there are many others. But we're very proud of the struggle to bring this holiday about. I said to the people of Fox Hill a few minutes ago, because they're having a separate ceremony for the people of Fox Hill, that community is everything, and you've helped to build up community. Please continue your work. We support you and bless you. And now, let's see if you know this song. Nassau is the capital. Bimini is the gateway. 1492, Columbus landed. And then what's next? 1973, we were free. So happy anniversary. Golden Jubilee. Happy anniversary. Prime Minister, it's over to you.
Your Excellency, Most Honorable Cynthia Mother Pratt, other esteemed guests and honorees, first let me thank you for your patience. It's been a long morning, but we think it's deserving of us to sit here and suffer through it just for you all. And I hope you're suffering with me. But today we are in great company. We have amongst us living heroes who embody Bahamian excellence and inspire us to excel through their lived examples. We are gathered to pay respect to their legacies, honor their contributions, and thank them for making our nation a better place. When we think of national heroes, we often think of political heroes, like the father of our nation, Sir Lyndon, or our first Governor General, Sir Milo Butler, or the first woman elected to Parliament, Dame Janet Boswick. But we also wish to recognize the broad range of contributions by others who make our society whole. Leaders in business, journalism, law, religion, law enforcement, medicine, the arts, and many other fields, who all make invaluable contributions to the success of our nation. Today, we confer the highest national honors upon this group of community, industry, and nation builders, whose contributions are now recognized through the awarding of the Order of Distinction, the Order of Merit, and the Distinguished Service Medals. Each name, each story, is a chapter of the narrative of the Bahamas, a story of tenacity and unyielding commitment to nation building. In reflecting upon our rich history, we are reminded of the historic figures like Sir Etienne Depute, whose journalistic prowess and advocacy for racial equality paved the way for a more just society. Our cultural tapestry is enriched with the vibrant hues of artistic legends like Ronnie Butler, whose melodies have become anthems for our Bahamian identity. In the realm of sports, we cannot overlook the achievements of elite athletes like Stephen Gardner, Shanae Miller-Ubo, whose Olympic victories have placed the Bahamas on the world stage. Our honorees represent the fields of education, the arts, science, public service, and many others. Their lives and achievements are stories of inspiration for every citizen, young and old. Thank you to the National Heroes Honors Committee, as well as those who organized this event. You are the unsung heroes who made this all possible. Your efforts are noted and appreciated. As we honor our national heroes, let's also remember the everyday heroes in our lives. The nurse at the hospital who provides the best care she can with limited resources. The PE teacher who spends his or her off-duty hours coaching for free, developing the professional athletes of the future. The single mother who works multiple jobs and still somehow manages to take exceptional care of her home. And the young men and women who are faced with negative choices each day, but choose instead to be a positive influence to their peers. All of these Bahamians, in their own ways, contribute to the success of our nation. We must remember, it is not the title that makes you a hero. The people we are honoring today were worthy of being honored long before they ever received this national honor or title. Looking ahead to the future, we must continue to invest in preserving and amplifying the legacies of our heroes. Initiatives like the National Heroes Park and public education programs are essential in ensuring that the history of those who built this nation is shared with the next generation. As we conclude today's ceremony, let's be reminded of the values and vision our heroes have imparted upon us. Let's pledge to carry on their legacy, ensuring a brighter, stronger Bahamas for all. May God's grace and blessings be upon all of us and the Commonwealth of the Bahamas always.
Thank you, Prime Minister. And I thank you all for joining us this afternoon as we recognize and give tribute to those Bahamians who have, in their own way, contributed to the development of the Bahamas and to our communities. And they serve as an inspiration, all of our honorees serve as an inspiration to us that if we do our little bit in our little corner of the Bahamas, we can impact the whole nation and even the world. I want to thank our violinist, Mr. Cameron Pratt, the choir of St. Francis Roman Catholic Cathedral, the Royal Bahamas Police Force for their rendering of their selections. I thank Bishop Delton Fernanda for his invocation, and for all of my officers, fellow officers on duty. I thank them for being here this afternoon. I now beg your indulgence as we stand for the national anthem. You will then have an official photograph. We have a reception next door, and I invite you to go there and join us for the reception. The national anthem. Please allow the Prime Minister and Her Excellency to depart.
Well, the first set of honors for 2023 have been conferred. There will be about 300 in total by the end of these ceremonies, which will continue this afternoon at 5 p.m. and then tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. Honoring Bahamians who have given so much of their lives. On the screen right now, you can see the wife of the Prime Minister, Mrs. Anne-Marie Davis, and they are getting ready to leave. There's Justice Camille Gomez-Jones, who we are hoping to actually have with us. Father, she's received the award on behalf of her dad, Dr. M. Perry Gomez, Michael Perry Gomez, whom has made outstanding contributions in the advancement of HIV/AIDS education and treatment here in the Bahamas. The Bahamas has one of the best records as far as dealing with HIV and AIDS, and really a lot of that is due to the really strong efforts of Dr. Perry Gomez, along with Nurse Rosa May Bain. They were the pioneers back in early '85, I think it was, when the first case of HIV and AIDS was recorded in the Bahamas. And they've been working over the years tirelessly. That national HIV/AIDS program now headed by Dr. Nakia Forbes. And so their work continues. The legacy continues. But everyone is taking photographs now. We're going to call it a day, well, not a day. We'll call it a morning now, because we will be back here for the 5 o'clock awards. We should be on air around 4:45 or so. Join us again then. Until then, I'm Julian Reed on behalf of the entire ZNS production team.